drop 'em. One hook and I'll rock 'em. One more and I'll stop 'em. Call the fighter, I'll lock 'em. Up 'em. If he reach, then I'll pop 'em. Street sweeper, I'll wash 'em. Homicide, come and chalk 'em. Drop 'em. One hook and I'll rock 'em. One more and I'll stop 'em. Call the fighter, I'll lock 'em. Up 'em.
You are now tuned into the Boxing Bros. I'm Caden, and I'm here with my co-host.
What's going on, everybody? It's Commish. I'm sorry, I'm on the road. It's $12 bill.
And it's your boy, the TVE. What up, world?
G couldn't be with us today. He had to handle some business. You understand? So he's not with us, but salute to G. As you know, we're going to hold it down for G, and he should return next week. Now, the first topic we're going to discuss on Boxing Bros is our reaction to Danny Garcia versus Jose Benavidez. Danny Garcia won a 12-round majority decision in which one judge scored at a draw, 114, overruled by the other judges who had Danny winning comfortably. And so I'm going to turn it over to you, Ned the TBE. What was your reaction to that fight?
My reaction, it was what I expected, but Jose came out strong in the first couple of rounds, and then Danny officially took over and literally dominated the fight. I feel if Jose had better footwork, which there's certain circumstances he suffered that limits him, he would have done better. But at the end of the day, Danny did what he had to do, and he prevailed. He showed he took advantage of an opportunity. It's not our fault. Jose put himself. It's not our fault. It's not Jose. It's not Danny's fault. Jose doesn't have the legwork or the footwork to be a better boxer. But one thing is, I want to say, Jim Lennon, you got to watch your mouth. How are you going to say to his brother, he hasn't won in 4 years? I felt David wanted.
Well, I saw that. I missed that though. What did Jimmy say?
Jim was interviewing David Benavidez, and he was like, "Your brother hasn't won in 4 years," or something like that. He was like, like the look on David's face was like, he wanted to crack him in the mouth. So I was like, Jim, you need to watch your mouth, man. Like you can't just talk all reckless to these boxers like they won't put hands on you, brother. So after that, it was a good fight.
I'm not mad at Jim for that, bro.
Yeah, I'm not mad at the scorecards, nothing like that. Danny did what he had to do. Welcome to 154.
All right, Trill Dollar Bill.
Master class to me. Danny was on his game last night. He punched him so hard one time, knocked the snot out his nose. You know what I'm saying? Danny couldn't do no wrong last night. He was boxed perfect. He boxed perfect. It was the Danny Garcia show from the beginning to end. If anything, I gave David Benavidez 2 rounds. You know what I'm saying? And 1 round was just off the fact of the matter because he did the hip thrust at the end of the round, talking trash. You know what I'm saying? So I said, hey, there you go. You know what I'm saying? At least he got some spirit of a fighter in him. Now, but all jokes aside, man, it feels like all he did in training camp was train to take punches. That's what it feels. I'm sorry, but that's how it feels. Like in training camp, this is what we're gonna do. David, give me your best shots. You know what I'm saying? See if we can take David's best shots in training camp. That's what he was. He was like, hey, listen, he stood up to David's punches, so Danny ain't gonna be able to drop him. You know? I want to see him in there, man. I want to see him in there again. He's a character. I think another fight for him is a crossroad fight for Erickson Lubin. Put him in there with Erickson Lubin for a return fight. You know what I'm saying? Get Erickson Lubin's courage back. You know what I'm saying? Throw him in there with Jose Benavidez. I'm not mad at Danny and Tony Harrison, the battle of Philly, getting it on in there. You know what I'm saying? Philly and Michigan getting it on in there. You know, the battle between Philly and D. You know what I mean? That would be a good one. But still, Danny's fresh off a victory. He needed this layoff. Like he said after the end of the fight, beautiful, beautiful what he said at the end of the fight. I was choked up as well. Listen, this is what he needed. Danny looked fresh out there. Danny looked really fresh out there. He was doing, man, he was doing that was the old Danny. You know what I'm saying? He showed you a little bit of everything. So shout outs to Danny Garcia. I'm not mad. I want to see him again there at 154, even though he's not a real 154 pounder. Let's just be honest. You know what I'm saying? Uh, he's a 144 pounder playing 154 pounds. But I would love to see him in there, especially with that boxing IQ and boxing pedigree that he got and that slickness he got. He can cause a lot of problems for some people in that division.
All right, no doubt. Before I go, I'm going to share what G tweeted last night. So this is what Conspiracy G tweeted. He said Danny Garcia showed a lot of improvement, good hand speed, and good footwork. He looks more comfortable at 154 than 147. So that was G's take on the fight. So here's what I have to say. People give Danny Garcia a lot of slack. They criticize him. He's always, never appreciated and overlooked. And it doesn't matter what he does. He fights someone. He's a cherry picker. He does this. He does that. And for me, this fight against Jose Benavidez wasn't really going to tell me much about Danny Garcia, but what it was going to tell me was if he still loved the sport, because it looked like Danny was falling out of love with the sport. And later on, we ended up finding out he was going through things, but he seemed to kind of get stuck in the same position where we weren't seeing any improvement. We weren't necessarily seeing regression, but he just hit a plateau. And it was like, man, is Danny giving it his all? Is he training? Is he doing the right things? But what you saw last night to me was one, his hand speed. His hand speed was there. He was ripping off combinations, and we used to see it. We stopped seeing it, but then we started seeing it again. And I know going into that fight, Jose Benavidez thought he was going to be faster than Danny, but Danny was letting his hands go. Danny was throwing triple jabs. He was hooking to the body. He was throwing uppercuts. He was throwing everything. And it was like, okay, this man's letting his hands go. Then he showed movement. He was moving around the ring. Then he showed defense. No, Danny was slipping. He was pulling. He was weaving shots. Like, he was just on his game. And so, although it is Jose Benavidez, and Jose Benavidez does have those limitations that we discussed, this was Danny coming off of basically almost a 2-year layoff. It's not like Danny picked Jose Benavidez when he was active and at the peak of his powers holding a title. That's not what he did. He moved up in weight. He chose Jose Benavidez after he was coming off a layoff. And he did what you're supposed to do. When you're a class above someone, when you're a cut above someone, you're supposed to show it with your performance. And that's what he did. He showed. No one left that arena except the judge who scored it a draw, thinking that Danny and Benavidez are on the same level. Nobody left the arena thinking that except the lady who scored it 114. And what was that about? What fight was she watching? I'm going to be honest. I gave David Benavidez the 9th round. And Jose Benavidez the 9th round. And that was it. I thought you could look to try to give him other rounds. And like Trill said, there was one round where maybe he could have swayed you with some of his antics. But for the most part, it looked like Danny hits him with a hard overhand right. He stand there and go, "Hoo!" Like, okay, you still got hit, bro. Like, that still counts. So you can stand. He get hit with 2 body shots. Hoo! You still got hit, bro. Like, it is what it is. But the thing that really makes me laugh with all this is Danny, because when Jose Benavidez was trying to sucker him into whatever type of fight he wanted, Danny said, "Nope, I'm gonna keep beating you with this jab. I'm gonna keep beating you with this. I'm gonna keep beating you my way." And that's another thing I feel like was growth from Danny Garcia. Just doing what you do. Sometimes people just, sometimes people let the crowd sway them. Just being happy with your performance and just doing what you know you do. Like Floyd used to do that all the time. So for me, it was a great performance. Not because I'm saying beating Jose Benavidez is a great accomplishment, but because Danny showed all the tools. He put on a masterclass. He showed you he's levels above mediocre talent, and he showed you he still cared for the sport. He was still sharp. The explosiveness was there. The speed was there. The boxing IQ was there. That's what we wanted to see. Nobody was watching this fight to see, if he can beat Benavidez because we thought Benavidez was a great opponent. We were looking to see how much boxing really matters to Danny, how much he has left in the tank. And we leave this fight thinking Danny still got a little something left in him. And we want to see him in bigger fights. And that's what this fight was about. I don't know if Trill can take us out, so I guess I'll take us out. Thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. Remember, you can catch our podcast on all major streaming services. We also have the Brothers album out right now with some hits on there. If you haven't listened, you should give it you should check it out. And remember that we are the Boxing Bros, and we're just getting started.